I used a regular canvas that you would use for oiling and acrylics. I put watercolor ground on top of this, and then I went ahead, let that dry really well, and I painted with watercolor paints on top of that. It's a great technique, and the close-up I'm giving you is so you can see some of the texture that you're going to pull out when you paint on this. So to start this painting off, this canvas has already had the watercolor on it. It's dried, and now all I'm doing is putting my masking fluid on top of this. And I used a stick, of all things. I used a stick in the beginning to just dip it in my masking fluid and then put it on top of this canvas. And then I found I wanted finer lines, so I grabbed my little fine line tip bottle that allows me to do that, and I drew in the lines for the water. It's just going to protect it while I'm painting. I used Brusho by Colorcraft in this area. I sprinkled a little bit of the cobalt blue and the sea foam, and I've got my materials listed in the description of this video. So I sprinkled that on, not much at all, and then I used a little bit of a spray bottle, and I'll wet it so I can get this to start running. I'm using my quill brush by Princeton Neptune, and those quill brushes are excellent. If you want a solid quill brush to use in your painting, they hold a lot of water, they hold a lot of paint, they're very easy to use, and you can squish them, turn them, and fan them out and get a lot of different type of textures in paintings. You could use those literally to paint and to not pick up other brushes. So try them. To create sand, you can use either a credit card, a plastic card. I use a metal ruler, and I will get my colors together for what I want to use for sand, and then when they're on my brush, I will literally put the ruler right near my picture, and I'll flick my brush on that ruler, and it'll splatter sand color right on there. It'll just make these little dots, and they're uneven, they're beautiful. So I use my yellow ochre, quinandine red, quinandine gold, and a little bit of quin red as well. It makes beautiful sand, and you can see, while I'm showing you the close-ups, you can see the texture that is in this watercolor ground that I got to prepare this canvas. It really looks like an awesome watercolor picture by the time you're done with it, and the textures that are in here, it's just so different from working on paper. I like to have a variety of different methods and choices that I can pull from for me to paint, and this was a fun abstract painting to do, and I thought the brusho would give it like a nice abstract look. I'm using a very solid brush right now. It's stiffer, and I'm using that with white gouache in order for me to put on the white foam. And so I'll draw thin lines, thick lines. I'll use a little bit of dry brushing the side of my brush with just a little bit of paint and not much water at all. And I'm just going to work that foam in. Then I'm going to add in some more blues and yellows and some browns into the sand. Work your shadows into the picture as well. Remember, you don't get to see the light unless you see the dark right next to it. So I did that with my seashore. I added in some nice gray tones right where the wave would be crashing. So you want to make sure you work with that. I always go back and add some more color depth into my sand to make it come out richer. And then towards the shore, I added some more yellows right under the water because it's sand that's under there. And once that's completely dried, I'll add some more blues and it comes out really vibrant. I'm coming to the end of my painting, and this is where I always add in my splashy foam, and I did it the same way I did with the sand. I just used a ruler and I splattered white on top of it. I put the paper down to protect it. So here you can see the final picture, and I want to thank you again for joining me. Hit subscribe and like this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time.